Session on Counselor University African Business Mastery Masterclass. Today we are going to be looking at the power of your story in driving your business. So recently, a young man came to see the wise counselor, and he said to me, "Wise counselor, my business is going down." As he was in my place, the young man was crying. And as the wise counselor, I looked at him and I told him that buried inside your story is the key to your success. I shared with him a story about how we started at Counselor University. I shared with him a story of the time when things were so tough for us that we were almost begging to feed ourselves. After this young man listened to my story, his face suddenly turned around and he said, "You know what? I've found a reason why my business too must survive." So today I want to tell you on how to create a business binding organizational story. Every business that succeeds, that thrives, must have a story behind it that people in the organization can look at and say, "Yes, this is why we're in this place." People in your business can look at and say, "Yes, we've seen a reason why we can stay in this business for 10, 20 years. But I want to share a small story with you. And this is the story I normally share when I work with pharmacists in every pharmaceutical setting. Now, this story has to do with a young girl named Buki. So Buki just got a job in a community pharmacy. And as a young girl, she always loved playing with her phone and the pharmacy. So one day, a young man came to buy something from the pharmacy. The guy was a banker. So when he came in, he told Buki that he had a mild headache. And because Buki was playing on her phone, she reached out and just randomly picked the medicine and gave to the young man. This young man took the medicine and zoomed off. What Buki didn't know was that the medicine she just gave to him had a very strong sedative side effect. But because she was distracted by her phone, she gave this medicine to this young man, and the side effect was the drowsiness. And as he was driving to work, he suddenly fell asleep on the steering and had an accident. And because of the severity of the accident, they had to amputate his two legs. Now, fast forward 4 years down the line. One day, Buki went into a bank to do some transaction, and he went to the manager of the bank to explain certain things. And as he was explaining to him, he asked her for her name and her phone number, and they started to chat. Before you know it, this young man and Buki developed a relationship. But Buki noticed that this young man was using a wheelchair, and for some reason she didn't ask him what happened to his legs. So as time was going on, Buki and this young man started to build a strong relationship. And one day, this young man asked Buki that, "I think I need to see your parents because I would like to marry you." And Buki now took this young man to see her parents. So as they went to see the parents, the mother, in the course of discussion, asked the young man, "What happened?" He said, "You know what? 2 years down the line, I went to a pharmacy along a particular place to buy a medicine. Unfortunately, the young pharmacist that was on duty that day didn't actually look at the medicine that she was giving me to notice that this medicine has a strong side effect, which was drowsiness. So as I took this medicine and I was driving to work, I fell asleep and had an accident, and my two legs had to be amputated." And it hit Buki that pharmacy was around where she worked that 4 years ago. He asked this young man, "What's the name of the pharmacy?" He mentioned the place. What month? He mentioned. It suddenly hit her that she was the person who was working at that particular pharmacy on that particular day. And without knowing it, because of her negligence, she didn't know that her negligence on that particular day was tied to her future husband. Now, I found out that anytime I share this story with any group of pharmacists, that the way they start their attitude to work suddenly changed. They gave good attention to anybody who came in because there was a story that they knew that the way they work today could affect their future. You too, as a business owner, must have a story that you can use to capture the heart of your workers and your customers. You know, one of the pharmacies I shared this story, the MD of the pharmacy said, "Let me share with you how I met my husband." And she said that one day she loved to work. And though where she was working, they weren't paying her well, but every day she was going to work, whether it was raining or whether it was sunny, she didn't care. And on one rainy day, she went to work and a young man came to see her. And the young man had this particular foot infection that he had been treating for months and had not had any relief. And despite the pressure on work that day, she gently attended to him, gave him the best care, gave him the medicine, and within 1 week, the infection on his foot disappeared. And he went back to her and said, "Young lady, what magic did you do to my leg?" But most importantly, he noticed the way this young lady attended to her. And before you know, he started to come often to discuss with her. And less than a year down the line, that young man asked her out, and that was how she married him. And today, that young man has set up a business for her. And when her worker heard this story, they realized that they too need to know how to attend to customers. Every business that survives and thrives must learn how to tell a story. You too must learn how to craft a story for your organization. You must master the act of storytelling. Because if you don't master the act of storytelling, you won't have a compelling reason why your people need to come together to work for you. You won't have a story that you can share with your people that anytime they are with you, they say, "Yes, because of this reason, we want to stay with you." One of the things that we do at Counselor is that we teach people how to tell their story. We teach people like your organization how to craft their unique story. We look at the pains you've passed through and we use it to teach you how to craft a story that anywhere you are, anywhere you share your story, people want to relate with you. Your staff want to stay longer with you, and your customers want to also come back to do business with you. Storytelling is what we've mastered and what we teach people how to tell. People like you, your organization must have their own story. And the day you craft your stories and you share with your people, you've built a great culture that people want to come around with. So join us at Counselor so that we can teach you how stories are crafted. We run a master class for African business owners called Counselor African Business Master Class. We invite you to join one of the master classes so that in the session, we also teach you how to tell your own story. And to join, you can follow us on any of our social media handles at Counselor University, or reach us on 080-2362-2171. Thank you, and we hope to see you at our next master class.